Meghan Markle is speaking out about her relationship with her estranged father, Thomas Markle, for the first time. After Meghan and Prince Harry's tell-all interview with Oprah Winfrey aired on CBS Sunday night, even more shocking information is now coming to light.
Meghan Markle just got exposed by her own family. And this changes everything. Because her own father has spoken out, her brother backed him up. And what they're saying? It could completely destroy the version of Meghan the world thinks it knows. This isn't about fame or Netflix deals or royal drama anymore. It's something deeper, more personal, and potentially much more damaging. Because according to her own family, Meghan Markle may have never given birth to her children at all. And think about that. If even a piece of this is true, it doesn't just poke holes in her public image, it shatters it. And the more you dig, the stranger it gets. We're talking medical claims, timeline inconsistencies, staged photos, and public appearances that just don't feel real. And the craziest part?
In an exclusive CBS This Morning clip that didn't make the primetime special, Oprah asked Meghan about her father and if she felt betrayed when he began, quote, working with the tabloids.
Almost no one is talking about it until now. And it all starts with one overlooked detail. Meghan's father claimed she had her eggs frozen years ago. Not rumored, not speculated. He said it outright. And then her brother added something even more shocking. That after freezing her eggs, Meghan allegedly underwent a hysterectomy. If that's true, it would mean she's physically unable to carry children. And all of it supposedly happened before Prince Harry ever came into her life. That alone flips her entire narrative upside down. Think about it. This is way before the wedding.
If we're going to use the word betrayal, it's because when I asked him, when we were told by the comms team this is a story that was going to be coming out, which, by the way, the tabloids had apparently known for a month or so and decided to hold until the Sunday before our wedding because they wanted to create drama.
Before the royal media circus, before the couple became this global brand. So if both her father and brother are telling the truth, how did Meghan Markle go on to have 2 kids? Something's not adding up. But here's where things get even messier. Keeping frozen eggs stored isn't just a one-time fee. It's expensive. According to fertility experts, the monthly cost can be as high as $8,000 to $9,000. And back then, Meghan wasn't some millionaire duchess. She was a supporting actress on Suits, pulling in about $7,000 per episode. Barely breaking even, if that. In fact, across more than 100 episodes, her actual screen time added up to around 2 hours total. It's the kind of resume you blink and miss. Which raises the obvious question. If Meghan didn't have the money to keep those eggs preserved, and if she couldn't carry a pregnancy, what really happened? And that's when the questions turned into theories. Because the timeline, the finances, and her own family's claims all point to one possibility that no one wants to say out loud. Once those claims started surfacing, the internet did what it does best. It started digging. People combed through years of footage, interviews, photos, and what they found wasn't just suspicious. It was bizarre. Where were the candid moments?
Which is also a really key point in all this. They don't report the news, they create the news. We called my dad and I asked him, and he said, no, absolutely not.
The little things you expect from any parent? Not staged holiday cards or curated Instagram posts, but the messy, chaotic, real parts of motherhood. The hugs, the sleepy airport photos, the spontaneous smiles. With Meghan, those moments are practically non-existent. Instead, people noticed something strange. In public appearances, the kids often seemed stiff, disconnected, like they didn't share a bond with either parent. And then came one of the weirdest theories yet. Photos taken at Disneyland showed Meghan with a young girl one day and with a different-looking girl the next, in a completely different outfit. Same trip. Different child? That's what people started asking. Were the kids used for those appearances even her real children? Or were they stand-ins? Of course, at first, this sounded like conspiracy territory.
Meghan said that she tried to reason with him and offered to protect him from the press. but she noted, quote, "If they do this once, we're not going to be able to use that same leverage to protect our own kids one day."
Until the videos started surfacing, until you zoomed in, watched closely, and realized there was no real affection happening on camera. Just careful positioning, stiff posture, and the feeling that everything was being managed, controlled, scripted. And just when people thought they'd seen the strangest detail, Meghan did something on camera that blew the whole conversation wide open. It was the clip that turned speculation into obsession. Meghan, heavily pregnant, stepping out in front of cameras. At first, nothing seemed unusual until she squatted down to greet someone, and her belly visibly folded in on itself. Not shifted, folded, like foam, like padding. The internet exploded. People slowed the footage down, analyzed it frame by frame, zoomed in on every angle. And what they found didn't scream baby bump. It looked like a costume error from a bad movie set. The shape collapsed in a way that no real stomach would. It didn't stretch, it bent. But the location of the clip is what made things even worse. It was reportedly filmed inside a hospital during the pandemic. And during that time, hospitals had some of the strictest access rules in modern history. No guests, no photo ops, no camera crews, especially not in maternity wards.
And I said, so I just need you to tell me, and if you tell me the truth, we can help. And he wasn't able to do that. And that for me has really resonated, especially now as a mother.
So how did Meghan waltz in with a full camera team and a suspicious-looking bump, without anyone raising alarms? To this day, not a single hospital staff member has come forward to confirm anything. No photos of Meghan entering or leaving a maternity ward. No behind-the-scenes leaks. Just a perfectly staged moment and a belly that looked like it belonged to a movie prop department. And if that wasn't enough to raise eyebrows, her behavior when talking about the children told its own story. Even if you ignore the body doubles, even if you brush off the moon bump clip as some weird optical illusion, something still doesn't sit right. And it's Meghan's own behavior. Every time she talks about her kids in interviews, something feels off. There's no real warmth, no spark, no emotional pull. It's like she's reading from a script about children she's never met. Flat tone, robotic phrasing, and the kind of forced smiles you give a stranger, not your own child. Compare that to other celebrity moms. You'll see glowing faces, emotional stories, even tears when talking about their children.
Meghan, who is expecting her second child with Prince Harry, also noted that it's hard to reconcile with her father because.
But with Meghan, it's clinical, performative. She rarely goes into detail, and when she does, it feels rehearsed, like she's saying what a mom should say rather than what she feels. There's even a clip where she's holding one of the kids and her arms are awkwardly stiff, as if she doesn't know how to hold a toddler. No rocking, no soothing, no instinctual movement. Just a careful pose, a quick photo op, and then off camera, the child disappears. It's the kind of body language people pick up on, even without meaning to. You feel the disconnect. You see it in her posture, her expressions, the way she holds back every time motherhood comes up. And when people started noticing this pattern, they went back to the documents and found even more questions. When something feels off in public, people start looking at the paperwork. And what they found in Meghan's case only made the theories worse. At one point, Archie and Lilibet's birth certificates were reportedly altered, with Meghan's royal title removed from the original documents, then added back in later. That's not just odd, that's legally questionable. In the United States, royal titles aren't supposed to be used as official names on birth records. And yet somehow both kids ended up with them. It gets even murkier. According to multiple sources, immigration officials were confused by the title usage and reached out to the palace for clarification. That doesn't happen unless red flags are flying behind the scenes.
Because she just would not have done the same thing to her own kids.
Archie, I think about this child and I go, I genuinely can't imagine doing anything to intentionally cause pain to my child. I can't.
Titles on legal documents, especially when they're tied to citizenship, aren't something you can casually change like a Twitter bio. And once we've got a mysterious pregnancy, no candid maternal moments, stiff body language, and official documents that don't follow standard procedure. And while all of this is unfolding in the background, Prince Harry is playing the role of the supportive husband, but also quietly pushing for full HRH titles for both children, even after Queen Elizabeth reportedly denied it before her passing. That kind of insistence doesn't just look suspicious, it looks strategic. And it makes you wonder, was this all part of a much bigger plan? For a long time, people gave Prince Harry the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he didn't know. Maybe he was just being loyal. Maybe he was caught in the middle. But as more details surfaced, that theory started to fall apart fast. Because Harry hasn't just stood by, he's been helping drive the entire narrative. According to royal insiders, Harry wasn't just okay with the HRH titles, he demanded them. He reportedly pushed King Charles to grant those titles for Archie and Lilibet, even though the late Queen had already made it clear no royal perks for anyone who steps away from their duties. And Charles? He folded quietly.
Last couple of months since Archie was born, I think he was, trying to remain quiet, potentially see that as a bit of an olive branch to Harry and Meghan, that if he didn't say anything, as he had been used to speaking his mind.
No public announcement, no firm stance. Just a silent approval that gave Meghan and Harry exactly what they wanted. Royal recognition for their children, without any of the responsibility that used to come with it. It's a strategic move, no question. Titles mean power, prestige, legacy. Especially when your public brand is starting to slip. And Harry, despite claiming to hate the media, has proven he's more than willing to manipulate it when it suits him. From calling the paparazzi to launch a spontaneous family moment, to filing lawsuits when the coverage doesn't go his way, Harry has mastered the game he once claimed to hate. He's not some clueless husband who got duped. He's deeply involved. And that raises the question, if Meghan's pregnancies weren't real, how far is Harry willing to go to keep the illusion alive? Because if they're both in on it, this isn't just deception, it's a coordinated campaign. So what's the end game?
That maybe they would come to the table, he'd be able to see Archie, but, he's said at the weekend, given up hope of seeing Archie, and it seems as though there is no way back. Certainly what I've been told is Meghan has absolutely no desire to speak to him.
Why would Meghan go through all this? The secretive pregnancies, the title drama, the staged moments, the legal gray areas. Some say it's about image. Others think it's revenge. But the most convincing theory, it's about power, legacy, control. Having children with royal blood, on paper at least, cements Meghan's place in the royal timeline forever. It locks her into the monarchy not through duty or tradition, but through symbolism. 2 kids, royal titles, global attention. That's not just family, it's long-term leverage. No matter how far they step away from the crown, those ties remain in place. And that gives them something even more valuable than fame: relevance. It's the same playbook the Kardashians used, but with a royal twist. Every photo, every appearance, every controlled leak. It's all part of a machine designed to keep Meghan and Harry in the spotlight without giving the public full access to the truth. Because if the public starts asking the wrong questions, like where the birth photos are, or why there's no footage of Meghan truly pregnant, or why the kids only seem to show up when there's a press strategy involved, that illusion starts to fall apart. And once it cracks, the whole brand goes with it. But Meghan's betting on the opposite. That by staying mysterious, curated, and just vague enough, she can keep the myth alive. At some point, the illusion always cracks. And with Meghan and Harry, those cracks are starting to show. Everywhere. From the moon bump footage to the shifting birth records, from the awkward public interactions to the family members dropping quiet bombshells.
But it's just a really particularly sad situation. He's even waded into the row over the private jets as well.
Yes.
Which is, on one hand, he's trying to bring them to the table, and the other hand, he's putting the boot in with this as well.
I think he's just so naive, because he's going to get asked those questions and he's going to answer them.
Absolutely.
He's got nobody to help.
It's all becoming too much to ignore. And yet, the palace stays silent. The press avoids the topic. The public is told to respect privacy. But this doesn't look like privacy anymore. It looks like misdirection. Carefully staged, expertly managed, and deeply suspicious. Because if Meghan truly gave birth to those children, why not just shut down the rumors once and for all? Why not release real photos? Why not offer a moment of transparency to silence the doubt? Instead, all we get is more noise, more drama, more distractions, like viral clips, awkward interviews, or perfectly timed controversies that pull attention away from the core question: who exactly are these children? And why is no one allowed to ask? It's no longer about whether Meghan faked a pregnancy. It's about how far this story goes and how many people, including Prince Harry and even the palace, may be helping keep it alive. Because if this really is the biggest image con job in royal history, then we're not just talking about scandal. We're talking about a complete collapse in public trust. And when that happens, the fairy tale doesn't just fade away, it burns down.